The Pfaff Ambition 1.0 sewing machine has the ability to use a twin needle. Now here are just a couple different sizes that I have on hand. A 2.0 needle, 4.0, and a 3.0. So that's the distance between the two needles. Now you can't just put a needle on and expect the machine to know you did, but that's why this machine is smart enough. You can tell the machine which size of needle you are putting on, and it will automatically reduce the width of any decorative stitch that you choose to sew. So see these little decorative stitches right here on the package? That's what we're gonna do. Now decorative stitching or just straight stitching, so pin tucks are done with double needles or twin needles. They're used, that name is kind of interchanged. We can also do top stitching or something that simulates cover stitching if you've seen that on the edge of one of your t-shirts lately and want to either duplicate it or fix a seam that's come out. Just find the needle that matches. So let's go ahead and I'm going to put a 2.0 double needle on. But before I put it on, why don't you go ahead and tell the machine to make sure this doesn't break. You're going to take your arrows and come all the way over to the set menu, so where those little tools are. And you'll notice your first option up here at the top is twin needle. Start by putting a little check mark in the box that turns it on, and then if you arrow left or right, that goes to all the different twin needle sizes. It actually stops at 3.0, so the 4.0 double needle that I showed you, don't put on. All right, good to know. So 2.0, the check mark is on. I'm going to arrow all the way down so I get back down to my tabs at the bottom, and then come back to where we can pick decorative stitches. All right, so a straight stitch now, it just won't let me move the needle position all the way over. It will limit me. And the other thing is it will remember that setting that we just turned on even after I turn the machine off. So hallelujah with that. So it's actually much smarter than we are realizing. The next thing I'm going to do is actually unthread the machine because I have one thread in here, but I need to show you how we're going to separate the threads. So each thread gets its own tension. Since the thread I want to add is going to just be a smaller spool, if it was bigger or heavier, I might want to actually put it on a thread stand, but I'm going to just put the vertical spool pin on, put the little spool cap kind of facing up, put the little felt pad on it, and it will just spin like that. Like I said, if it's too big or heavy of a spool, sometimes they don't spin as well, so keep that in mind. You don't want to weight down your machine too much. So what I'm going to do is put both the threads in my hand, come under the first guide together. They can share that one. They can also share this one. So there. Now, as I come down, you're going to notice there's a little fin right here. You can even hear it kind of wiggling back and forth. I'm going to separate my threads and put one on the left side of that fin and one on the right. And that's why I wanted to unthread the machine, because I don't usually know what side I put it on. I just let it fall into it. But after you go through the separator part at the top, you can just put it in your hand and thread the machine like normal. Except when you get down to the needles, oh no, the needle threader is not lined up and cannot be used with a twin needle. So you're back to just threading it the old-fashioned way. If that is a problem, you might want to get a little handheld needle threader. There are some great ones. They usually come with the sergers these days, so ask your dealer if they've got one of those handheld needle threaders. They're great. Okay, so threaded needles. Now I do want to test this before I sew, and we're going to just do a straight stitch. You do see the twin needle little function is up, and as I sew, it should sound just the same as what you're used to hearing. So if you hear anything different, it might not be threaded correctly. As you pick a stitch, so let's just pick stitch number 4, that's a zigzag. We'll just leave it at its default settings. And now let's do something fun. Let's do stitch, actually, you know what, a lot of the utility stitches, let's try 13. So 13, you're going to notice that it will be reduced in width. So this machine can sew a maximum of 7 millimeters wide. So when we subtract the 2.0 double needle, it actually makes sure that I don't go overboard and get out of, go too far into different directions. So some stitches are going to look better than others, but I do have a variegated thread on and a solid color, so it kind of mixes them up. I kind of have some fun with that. All right, let's show you what we're working with here. So you can see instantly that all of a sudden stitches that look boring can actually look pretty fun. Let's do a decorative stitch. Let's do 49. This is just like a little kind of swirl to it. This is going to kind of just have some fun, kind of add a little pop of color as it goes. And should we try one more? How about, oh, the circles, 103. Oh, machine set for twin needles. So sometimes it might not let you pick stitches that might not be limited enough to give us the look you're after. So let's try 48. And there we go. Good. But the nice thing is you can just go ahead and stitch without worrying about the width of the stitch. You can just go ahead and sew. All right, this should give us a little bit of an idea. Oh, look at that stitch. So something so simple turned into something totally different. So you know how I keep telling you to stitch out all your decorative stitches? Why not put a double needle in and stitch them out again? I know, but look what you're missing if you don't see them stitched out on your very own machine with different colors of thread.